Chapter 21. Bad Blood. Sam's eyes shot open, blood pumping, as though it were Christmas morning. Gingerly, he took a breath. No pain. Strange. He wiggled a toe. No pain. He raised his head off the pillow. Still no pain. Sam sat upright and swung his legs off the bed. And still there was no pain. Curious. There was no bandage around his thigh, nor strapping at his chest. Oh, God! How long was I out? Voices drifted through the door, rapidly getting louder. Then it burst open. Gen C strode in, face crimson, followed closely by Florence. They both stopped and stared at Sam. The monk closed his eyes and sighed. What have you done? Nothing. I've literally just... He pointed to the fresh indent in his pillow. No, not you. Her. Florence's nimbus became an indignant orange. I did what I had to. The boy was dying. What? Sam's eyes widened. Gen C started pacing. You took a turn for the worse during the night, and Florence unilaterally decided to treat you with a highly experimental artificial blood called femtoglobin, designed to repair tissue damage at a cellular level. It was the only thing that could have saved him, Florence stated. Gen C turned on her. It may well have been, but you should have spoken to someone first. Did you inject him with the inhibitor too? Florence's nimbus turned pink. You didn't read that far on the patent, did you? So his bloodstream is swarming with femtoglobin. Sam looked at his arms. Everything looked normal. And that's bad. Why? Gen C stopped pacing. It's bad because now we have no idea what effect it will have on you. Femtoglobin is composed of living, albeit synthetic, microorganisms. They're designed to perform a function within the body, then break down and be absorbed. So, what's the problem? The inhibitor stops them replicating. You've missed the window to take it. Sam blanched. Come again? He gulped. Will they stop? The monk shrugged. No idea. It's so experimental, Florence shouldn't even know of its existence, let alone be able to synthesize and administer it. There was a pause. Sam felt uneasy. Gen C wasn't simply angry at the robot's insurrection. He looked worried. There's something else, isn't there? We don't know how they'll affect you, Sam. The microorganisms are always injected fully fed, and with the inhibitor. They degrade before they start to seek more energy. Yours continue to multiply inside of you, and are going to get hungry. As if on cue, Sam felt a wave of dizziness, and spread his arms to steady himself. It started. Sam, lie back. Florence, assuming total saturation of the bloodstream, calculate how much energy would they need per hour and convert it to calories. Florence was silent for a few seconds. 2,000. Gen C let out an explosive breath. That's a day's worth of food. Sam's mind felt like jelly. What happens if they don't get food? Any chance they could grab a takeaway? They require ATP, so we'll begin catabolism, Florence responded. What? Adenosine triphosphate. They take energy from food, but if there's none available, they will digest muscle, fat, and tissue. You mean they will... Sam gulped. Eat me? Gen C gave the robot a murderous glare. That's not going to happen. Navitium? The monk looked fit to burst. Where are you getting your information? These are all highly classified. I am required to treat and heal. I have access to all areas of the cube. What's, navitium? Sam slurred. The room was whirling. It's a compound that yields large quantities of energy, and the formula is also classified. He turned back to Florence. How many milliliters for 2,000 calories? 97. In theory? Sam groaned. We're running out of time. Do you have everything you need to synthesize it here? Yes. Why am I not surprised? Do it. I'll try get some food down him in the meantime. But we need to have a long chat after this, Florence. The monk regarded the robot darkly. I don't report to you. Florence left the room via a portal in the ceiling. Sam, Gemc prodded the sleepy boy. I'll be right back. Okay, Mum. Sam's eyelids were fluttering. Waffles or pancakes for brekkie, please? He licked his lips weakly and patted Gemc's hand. The monk rolled his eyes and stood up. It was going to be one of those days. Jenny looked from the monk to Sam, to Florence, and then swore. Then she swore again. Fedor, who had been sitting silently at the back of the room since they arrived, let out a low whistle. Sam was propped up in the bed, a picture of health. Any signs of his recent brush with death vanished. And a transfusion won't work. We can't get them out. Nope. For femtoglobin to be a universal donor, it's designed to mimic hematopoietic stem cells. The prolonged exposure has resulted in the femtoglobin impregnating the bone marrow and infecting his myeloid tissue. Even if we could purge his blood and lymphatic system, his body will now continue to synthesize it. A bone marrow transfer? The monk shuddered. You could never replace it well enough. They're permanent, and Sam will need to consume 2,000 calories an hour just to keep them from breaking his body down for fuel. And that's where the Navitium comes in? Correct, though I'm not sure it was intended for continual use. It's designed to be an extreme booster for some mods, highly strenuous physical exertion, or jump-starting starved systems. What happens when he's sleeping? At this point, Sam noticed Gemc began to look uncertain. Well, the body's metabolism naturally slows during rest, so we're hoping femtoglobin will follow suit. They're designed to repair cellular damage and, in theory, excluding the normal oxidative stress caused by free radical damage, they shouldn't have much to do during a sleep cycle. Hopefully, they will operate at almost the same energy levels as normal blood cells. A thought occurred to Fedor. So, Sam will never get sick? I suppose not. Well, not for very long, at any rate. Will he age? They all turned to look at him. The boy shrugged. Reuben said Bay didn't age because he had an antibody that hunted free radicals. You just said Sam's femtoglobin will act on free radical damage. If it's such a powerful healer, then he will never be affected by the natural build-up of free radicals and, therefore, should not age. Is this correct? Gemc had underestimated this boy. His quiet nature hid a keen mind. Florence broke the silence. He is correct. Sam looked horrified. You mean I'm going to stay 15 forever? Gemc shook his head. That's development, not aging. It's unlikely you'll age much past the point of physical maturity. This is very worrying. Cool. The boys breathed in unison. No, it's not cool. How on earth are we going to explain this to his parents? To Mr. D'Angelo? Jenny's face drained of colour. I'm so fired. Let's worry about that later, the monk said. For now, we need to concern ourselves with keeping him supplied with Navitium. I can help, Florence interjected. I think we've had enough of your help, thank you, Florence. Uninhibited by emotion, Florence ignored the jibe. Navitium is usually administered in liquid form. In gaseous form, one could achieve the same result with much smaller quantity. Go on. An inhaler. One dose should yield the hourly requirement. Like an asthma pump, Sam ventured. How long will it take you to have a prototype ready? Jenny asked. I have sent the plans to engineering. We will have a prototype ready within the hour. Shouldn't you have waited for us to discuss it first? It was the only logical course of action. Further discussion would be a delay. Sam heard Gen C mutter something unflattering under his breath, but was more concerned about being eaten alive by blood parasites, how his parents would take it, and if this meant they'd failed the course. He decided to focus on one thing at a time. How long would this inhaler last? Based on 16 doses a day, 1 week, Florence calculated. That's not too bad, Fedor said. Just make sure you always have a spare. Maybe get one of those bottomless bags. Jenny blinked. Fedor, you're a genius. Florence, could we modify the inhaler so that the gas canister is linked to the quartermaster's stores? It is possible, the robot admitted. Fine. Jenny sat up. Get some ideas over to engineering. We'll start Sam on the prototype and 5 spare inhalers, so that each of us can carry one. Sam suddenly felt restless. Can we please get out of here? I've not seen blue sky in, forever. Let's wait for the inhaler, Gen C said. Then you can take it, and your new passengers, for a test drive. Seconds after the first puff, Sam felt ready to wrestle a Russian. And, as luck would have it, he knew just where to find one. He thanked his cybernurse who, when she was sure the others were out of earshot, gave Sam the same cryptic message the gardening robot had. Sam suspected Flick might also be the mystery benefactor behind Florence's timely patent knowledge. The first thing Sam did, after being discharged from his sickbed, was fold to the Ortega's sundeck in the garden. Fedor was leaning against the gazebo. How do you feel? Sam put on his best Russian accent. Strong, like bull. Fedor shook his head. Brain like bull, more like. Race you to the waterfall? Sam challenged. Keep an eye out for snakes. Fedor winked and vanished. They spent the rest of the afternoon lying in the sun, talking and staring up at the cloudless sky. Can I try it? Fedor asked when Sam took his hourly puff. Sam tossed the inhaler over. Whoa! Fedor's body sprung to life. Imagine a dose of that before a fight. He rolled over and started performing fingertip press-ups. Well, just stops me from being eaten, Sam replied sourly. Yeah, but remember the upside? Fedor flipped to his feet with chemically enhanced speed. No sickness, no aging, and I bet you heal super quickly. You think so? Only one way to find out. Fedor walked over to the water and found a sharp sliver of rock. Sam raised an eyebrow. You're kidding. I still feel pain. Don't be such a wimp. Just a small cut. No need to be dramatic. Sam pressed it to his fingertip. Go on, Fedor chided. Are all English boys such babies? A baby? And I'm not English. But the chastisement did the trick. Bright red blood seeping from the laceration. Fedor sat down next to him, both boys transfixed by Sam's finger. Nothing happened. Great. Sam shook his head. Now it won't stop bleeding, and I'll probably get sepsis. He waggled his finger in the water, and then wiped it dry on his shorts. Fedor grabbed his hand. Look! The wound was gone. Sam snatched his hand back, raising the finger to his nose. Not a scratch. Fedor let out a whistle. Whoa! Not sure it's worth being chained to an inhaler for the rest of your life, though. A very long life, Fedor pulled on his shirt. Sam made a face. He wasn't as excited as his friend. A long, lonely life plagued by bad memories was not something he felt any enthusiasm for. He slid an arm through the sleeve of his own shirt, hiding the scars that were a constant reminder of how alone he was already. There was only one advantage to all of this. Next time he was attacked, he'd not be so easy to beat. Come on, Wonder Boy. I'm starving. It had been an hour since Fedor had eaten. You know, Sam pursed his lips, I think your nickname should be Pit. Fedor gave a rare smile. As in Brad? As in bottomless. How do you boys feel about a little detour? Jenny asked over dinner. Eh? Sam looked up from his lomo saltado, a delicious local beef dish. Well, Gen C has been summoned by the council to discuss Sam's accident, and I've been instructed to retrieve an important schematic from a contact in Russia. Fedor's ears pricked. Whereabouts? I'm not at liberty to say, but if you boys don't feel like joining me, I'm sure Miguel would appreciate the extra hands for harvesting. Sam nearly choked. We don't need to know where. We'd love to come. Fedor tore at a loaf of bread. Can we ask who the contact is? It's a they, actually. Brothers Ivan and Anatoly. Jenny topped up her wine. Ivan was the youngest chess grandmaster, and has at least 5 games going at any time. At night, however, he's a dreamer, and will sketch incredible inventions in his sleep. He's never interested in any of them, preferring online gaming and being a bit of a lump. But his brother, Anatoly, makes up for his disinterests. He holds doctorates in engineering, biochemistry, genetics, and quantum mechanics, and is what you might call a tinkerer. Anatoly leaps on whatever Ivan dreams up. Together, they are the perfect inventor, and possibly the most dangerous. Sam's eyes brightened. Why? Genius rarely asks if something should be done. It only focuses on what can be done. Ivan's not conscious when he concocts his designs, and Anatoly never considers the potential impact of what Ivan dreams up. He's consumed by the challenge of trying to build it, which is not so good when it's a weapon or a harmful biological agent. Femtoglobin? Fedor guessed. She nodded. Yes, you have them to thank for that. This time, it's a device of some kind, something that shouldn't fall into the wrong hands. I went to school with Anatoly, so we have a rapport of sorts. That always helps when you have to confiscate someone's toys. Sounds fun. Sam wanted to go. But there was something else weighing on his mind. What about our next test? He decided to force the monster out of the cupboard. Things haven't exactly gone according to plan recently. He rubbed his ribs. But I'm pretty sure we need to come away from the jungle having achieved something. You've done it, Jenny assured him. Trust me, the benchmark to pass this section of the training was being able to harvest, then use one of the compounds Miguel and Orma have shown you, and Fedor certainly did that. The boys were relieved, and pleasantly surprised. Ah, well, every cloud. Sam took another mouthful. Let's go and visit Mother Russia, then. Joe awoke with a start. He was drenched in sweat, sitting upright in his bed, panting. It took him a while to realize he was home, in his own bed, with his things around him. Safe. Finally. He flopped back into the clammy sheets, and his hand drifted to the lump on his head. It had almost gone. Thankfully, his mother hadn't noticed, so he felt no need to tell her everything that had happened so far, certainly not falling out of a 50-foot tree. He closed his eyes. Why did he keep waking up so scared and breathless? He remembered pieces of his dream, but not why they should have this effect. A rabbit, a long, dark passageway, tumbling through darkness towards something. He rolled onto his side and glanced at his clock. 2:37 a.m. Ugh. He squeezed his eyes shut. Just breathe. In and out. In and out. He drifted off again. He was still falling. In the dim light, he could almost make out shapes below him. Blocks, A pattern. Something. What was it? Sleep claimed him, a heavy and dreamless slumber. Veronique could not sleep. The sounds of Parisian nightlife called to her, its music, voices and laughter rising from the streets below. She so wanted to answer the call, to socialize and dazzle, leaving a trail of broken hearts in her wake. It was summer, and the city was alive, brimming with excitement and promising adventure. But adventure had taken on new meaning, no longer constrained by the boundaries of cozy cafes, moonlight boulevards, and the words of charming strangers. Adventure was now tainted by dark caverns, treacherous waters, and hot, deadly jungles. She shuddered, recalling the image of Fedor lifting Sam's broken body, his jaw slack, lips bloody, his limbs dangling from a chest that seemed impossibly thin. It was no wonder she could not sleep. The amusements of the streets below seemed a distant, childish delight. Idle prattle and the senseless laughter of fools who knew nothing of the world being destroyed around them. In her lap, she held her tarot cards. With trembling fingers, she reached towards the top card, but stopped. For the first time, Veronique felt scared that the cards might hold the truth, that they were no longer a childish flight of fancy. You follow the cards. She could still hear the gypsy's voice. Do not follow too closely, for the hand that holds them is not always your own. She now feared what might lie beneath. Nicky, the coward. Gen C waited outside the council chambers. He was not usually nervous. He had been through the thick oak doors in the statue's neck many times, though they seldom led to the same place. The first time they had opened on a sun-bathed clearing in a forest of ancient oak, the council seated around a gigantic stone table. It had been many years before he had appeared before them again, gathered on the deck of a large Chinese junk moored in the placid waters of a remote archipelago. He idly wondered where they would lead today. A castle tower perched on a misty mountain, or perhaps a vaulted stone chamber far below the forgotten city. A guard interrupted his reverie. You may go in. As usual, Bade was present, though this time he was dressed in a tailored charcoal suit and crimson silk shirt. He returned the monk's greeting with the faintest nod, then turned and led him down a narrow corridor lined with wooden torches. I don't believe I've been here before. No. Where are we? The ancient warrior snorted, but did not reply, and Gen C felt the sting of chastisement. He'd known Bade all his life, and sometimes forgot how transient others must seem to the Sumerian. But the monk was a legend in his own right, and was used to being treated as such. His genetic memory gave him the skill and knowledge of countless ancestors. Everyone respected him, except Bade. Stop. The passage was a dead end. The monk looked over Bade's shoulder, wondering if they were lost. Where? He muttered before he could catch himself, provoking a growl of irritation. Never mind. Careful not to sully his suit, Bade placed his right hand on one of the stones lining the near side of the passage. With his left, he found a slightly higher spot on the opposite wall, placed his feet on 2 flagstones, and began pressing the 4 stones in sequence. Gen C heard the familiar grating of blocks moving as the flagstones of the passage behind them descended, one by one, into the floor, becoming a staircase. Left foot, right foot, Bade instructed. A short descent brought them into a long, well-lit chamber. Large statues of warriors in strange armour lined the avenue, their gauntleted hands clasped at their sides. Sharp, angular helmets hid their features, but, as Bade slipped past and took the lead, Gen C could not help but feel there was something very alien beneath the visors. Picking up the pace, he followed his ancient companion toward a round, studded metal door, and the council beyond.